Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to the How Do I series here at QualitySewing.com. My name is Jenna, and I am our Sew Fun manager. And today we're going to talk about a really cool and simple project that you can do using these Drink Cozy pre-cut battings. What these are they are pre-cut pieces of batting that you can use your scraps of fabric or different materials that you have to create a drink cozy for your coffee cup. Who hates it when we get sewing? We forget our cup sitting there and then it gets super cold. So these are super fun. You just take your scrap fabric. You can use a button with elastic or Velcro, and then they simply sit on your fun coffee cup and keep your cup warm. Well, this month we featured them in August. Andrea Hayden and Naomi Human were our Sew Fun consultants for August, and they featured this product, and Andrea blew my mind. Instead of doing just a traditional drink cozy, she made Superwoman cuffs, but I decided to make a mermaid cuff. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna walk you through and show you how easy it is to take something that we normally would make into like the drink cozy and modify it to make a costume for yourself or a part of a costume. And so what we're gonna do is the first thing you're gonna do is that since the batting is already pre-cut, they're a little big for your wrist. So the first thing that you would do is grab one. It comes with 8 in a package, which is a really good deal. But you're gonna take it, just wrap it around your wrist and measure. You can see the overlap there. So I would go in a little bit because as you see here, when we put this on, you need a little bit, about an inch of overlap for your Velcro. So what you would do is you would measure and cut the excess that you didn't need. So then you end up with a piece that looks a little bit shorter, but would wrap around and give you a little bit of excess. Super easy there. So now we have our piece of batting that's been cut to the right size. And what you're gonna do is, here is the material. It's slinky and a little bit slick, but that's okay. And what you wanna do when you're making a costume is think about, when I put this on, because this has a pattern, how is that pattern going to sit? And so since I want this to look like scales or fish scales or mermaid scales, I wanted those scales to be pointed down. So that means that this edge here needs to be up. So when I place my batting piece on my material, those need to be up. So keeping that in mind, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take both pieces, put them, oh, I'm sorry, you just need 2 pieces. The pattern says 4 by 16, but you can use any piece that's big enough to fit over your batting there. And so once you have those, you're going to make sure that both on this side, your pattern is facing the same way, which is up. And then you're gonna place your batting on top. Super easy, just make sure everything's flat and lined up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but then I'm gonna use my pins, and I'm just going to pin, holding my fabric here, pin the top and the bottom, and I'm gonna put in about 3 or 4 just to make sure, because this is a little bit more slippery material, just to make sure that all of those layers set well together and don't move as we're sewing. All right, and I'm gonna actually move that guy a little bit down because we're gonna sew around the edge. So then what we're gonna do, now that I've got my pins here, so I've just pinned randomly in the middle there. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to our machine here, and we're going to just sew 1/4 of an inch all the way around the outside. And so I am going to lift my needle up, drop down, just move my foot pedal over, and we are just going to sew a couple stitches, reverse a little bit so we tack that down. And we are so simple and easy, just going to sew 1/4 inch around the outside. Now that needle down button is really helpful for turning, so that way you can have your needle down as you adjust your project. And the other thing I will say is you just want to go a little bit slower as you're watching if you're using this type of material, because it is slippery, and so sometimes wants to wrinkle or roll on top of itself. So you just want to take it nice and slow, take your time around those edges, and then again slow down once you get to that edge. Perfect. That needle drops down so we're able to turn and perfectly rotate the material. So now the one thing that you want to keep in mind as you're sewing is you need to leave yourself a little bit of a gap so that way you can turn your material. So you just want to leave yourself enough for you to get a couple fingers in there to turn it around. So we will, I'm going to stop right about there, reverse a little bit, and then use our scissors function. So now that we've done that, we're going to go back to our cutting table really quick. And we are going to take our rotary cutter, and we are just going to trim off the excess material after we take out our pins. So we're going to take those out. And we are just on the straight edges. I like to be nice and straight, but you really don't have to have a rotary cutter for this part because you can't use a straight edge on a rounded edge, but we will at least get these edges nice and straight. And then what I'm going to do for these rounded edges is I'm going to actually grab my pinking shears and trim around. And what these do is these will actually help take out some of that bulk in the seam as you rotate around when you turn it. And so then you won't have bulky seams. And that really helps keep everything nice and straight and together, and not have any lumps and bumps. These ones that I have are Kai. If you've not tried Kai scissors yet, you are missing out. They are amazing. But so we are going to go in here and we're just trimming along. And the material's a little slick, so that's why it's taken me a little bit to cut. Normally I'd be able to cut nice and quick. But there we go. Okay. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I am going to just take my rotary cutter and just trim a little bit off of these corners. That also helps take out some of the bulk as you're turning it. So we're just going to take off a little bit in each corner. I won't do this one because this is where we're going to turn. But here's our opening here. We're going to reach in between. So make sure that when you turn it, you're turning in between your materials. We're going to grab to the other side. Pull that through. Now at this point, your turning tool is, you could use a stiletto, or this is the OESD turning tool. And you just, what it is it has a little blunt rounded edge here. And that you just go in, push out your corners. You get nice crisp corners. We're going to turn out our other side. Nice corner there. One more. And turn that corner. So now we've got something that looks like this. Now what we're going to do is we need to close up this seam. So we are just going to tuck that in. And again, this material is a little more tricky because it's a little slick, but we'll get that in there.
Pat wants to know where you got your fabric.
I got my fabric from a place called Mom's Fabric Room, but I think she got it at like a Hobby Lobby or something like that. Really affordable, but sometimes mom has a nice stash that I get to borrow from, so I take advantage. So now that we have this turned right side out, I will say I have seen similar fabric at Hobby Lobby or Joann. So if you're really interested in getting some, that's a great place to look. So now I'm just going to turn this, and I just put one pin to hold it. Now that I've got it tucked in there, we're going to go back over to our machine. And we are going to just sew that seam. Now what I'm going to do is it does have a little bit of puffiness to it, which I like in a lot of ways, but to give it a finished look, I am going to sew all the way around 1/4 inch. And it will help have that seam be sealed. And then it also gives us a really nice finished look as well. So we're just sewing along. Again, you want to go nice and slow here. That way the fabric doesn't wrinkle or anything on you as you're going. Back up just a little bit. And gotta love that scissors function. So then I'm just gonna rotate it over, and we're gonna do the bottom edge as well. I'm not doing these sides because I'm gonna do Velcro, so they'll be tucked down as well, but for right now, we're just gonna do the bottom edges. And we're just going right along that edge there, nice and easy. The great part is the only stitch I need to complete this project, oh, see, I saw it right there, tried to wrinkle on me, is a straight stitch. So you can do this project on any machine, and it's so much fun. And what I love is it's like instant gratification. I mean, a couple minutes and we've already got this far. So now what we're gonna do, we need to stick it together. So we are going to, I'm gonna trim those threads. And what we are going to do is put Velcro. Now, don't ask me how I know. It's really important to make sure that when you put them on, you don't just lay them like this, because then what happens, you have to go like this. Instead of, when you put them on, you need one on the front and one on the back. Otherwise it would be sticking out here. I might have had to seam rip a couple times, not realizing when I did this the first time. So one easy way, because Velcro is really thick and sometimes hard to get through with pins, you can try to pin it, but we sell a product that's called wash away tape. A lot of people have it, but if you don't, believe me, you want it. It is a double-sided sticky water-soluble tape. So when you open it up and put it on, it will stick right to your Velcro, and then you take off the back side and it's sticky. So you won't see it as it sews in. It doesn't stick to your needles, and as you wash it, it washes away. Another really great use for this is if you need, like, you're in a rush to go to a gathering and you need to hem your pants, roll them up, put some of this wash away tape in, and it's a quick, easy fix. Just throwing that out there. But so what we're going to do with the Velcro is we're going to go right along that edge there, place one on this side, and then we know we need to be on the opposite side. So I've got that wash away tape on there, and we're just going to come along the edge, place that on. You can double check if you want to put it on. You just don't want to actually put it on because that tape isn't that strong to hold it, but it at least gives you a good guide to make sure that they are lining up. And we're going to go back to our machine. I will move my cool pins. All right. So with Velcro, really there's not a lot of different things that you need to do with it. You just need to know that I go nice and slow just because it is so much harder for the machine to go through. It's got that really thick back on there. So again, we're just gonna stop right there towards the edge, lift up, go around, and we're just going to go all the way around the outside here and tack that down. Now, because this is going to use so much wear and tear, I am also going to go down at a diagonal across. You can do a crisscross. I'm just going to do one. And that just helps really reinforce it on there. We're going to reverse to tack it down, clip that. So we've already got one done. We're going to come over here, and that tape makes it so easy. They don't go anywhere. They just stay put. Pull out that thread a little bit more. And again, we're just going to go right along the edge there, tack it down. These would be so fun in so many different colors. Like I said, Andrea did silver, and she had a star on them for Superwoman. You could do gold cuffs if you wanted to be a gladiator or a Greek goddess. You could do some of the vinyl and make them look like leather cuffs if you were going to be a gladiator. But there are just so many different things that you could do with these outside of just your normal cozy. Now, you could make a mermaid one as a drink cozy too. That's always a fun option. But we're just going to come back over, trim up those threads, and try them on, because who doesn't want to wear mermaid cuffs? Got one, got the other, and check that out. Who doesn't want those? So these are available on the website, the Drink Cozy Pre-Cut Battings. You can order those. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments or reach out to us. Our online team's always happy to help, or at any of our 11 stores. Thanks, and have a great day.